What is going on, guys? It's Will Kelly with Military Lawn Cuts, where my wife and I have built a $600,000 business in lawn care, and we are planning on opening up our second location here very, very soon. If you have ever thought about getting into weed control and applying fertilizers and pre-emergents and winterizers to your customer's lawn, this video is for you, because what I have behind me is a calendar for a turf program and a weed control program that I am going to deep dive and share and pull out all of the great information that I want to share with you in regards to lawn application. So let's jump right into this thing, and I just want to try to bring you guys as much value as I possibly can. So to start, why would you want to get into lawn applications? Doesn't it take more knowledge, and don't you got to take a test and get licensed? And the answer is yes, you have to do that. You have to follow rules and regulations of the Texas, well, not the Texas, but whatever your state Department of Agriculture is, you absolutely have to follow those rules and guidelines, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with pesticides, and you want to make sure you're being safe and there are no spills, and you're handling them properly, so that way these pesticides, you're not putting too much down where they get into our water source that can affect us as human beings. Okay? Now, the reason why you definitely want to get into lawn applications is we have found that you can make about a 35 to 40% profit margin on weed control and fertilization. Now, when you compare that to a service like mowing or landscaping, we do not see that high of profit margins when you look at mowing. Our mowing percentages are generally around 10 to 15%. Okay, so there is a huge jump for profitability in this realm. I think what it also does when you go out and actually get licensed, it separates yourself from all the other chuck in a trucks, Joe Schmoes that are just kind of mowing lawns on the side, because that's who you're competing with when you are only offering mowing services. Are a lot of people that just are like, hey, I want to make some side money. They pick up a mower on the side, and they absolutely anybody can really do this. So it's really important when you become licensed, you separate yourself and you become more of a professional in your craft. Okay, which allows you to charge a higher premium because of the education and knowledge that you need to mix chemicals, apply chemicals. Now, there are definitely some precautions that you want to take and make. You do not want to mix too much, too little. You can absolutely fry a lawn if you don't mix it properly and the temperatures are above 80 degrees. So it's extremely important to get with somebody that knows this business, okay? Each country or each section of the country can be a little bit different depending on where you're at, but generally speaking, we are going to follow this list today. So what I have behind me, let's take a look so I can share this information with you. Make me a little bit smaller here. Okay, so this is our turf program that we basically follow, and it's pretty generalized to a lot of people that are in warm season areas, which is, I would say, majority of the United States in that middle and below. So if you find yourself in those regions and have Bermuda grass, this is going to be super helpful. If you don't have Bermuda grass, that's okay. I think you'll still get value from what I'm going to explain to you about the different chemicals and how to apply things and the mixes and all of that stuff. So let's just jump into it. All right, so for this turf program here, so as you can see, the first line item here is Simtrol. Let me try to zoom in a little bit here for you. All right, so we're going to look at Simtrol. So what this is it's a winter pre-emergent. This is actually our round one, okay? And we generally apply this anytime between January and February. It's yellow because it's a pre-emergent. So if you look down here for the prodiamine round, that is also a pre-emergent. So you want to try to stagger your pre-emergent. So you want to hit them with a pre-emergent in January or Feb, and then you want to hit them with a March, April pre-emergent as well, because typically pre-emergents allow you to get about a 6 to 8 week control of new growth that won't allow it to pop through the soil. Okay, so if you stagger them and you hit them with a round 1 and then a round 2, that will push you all the way up until about end of April. And by that time, the summer weeds should have tried to come up. But if you did it right, those pre-emergents are going to keep that barrier there and not allow new growth to come through. Okay, now we also do pre-emergents in the fall. So as you can see, we do that prodiamine round in September and October. And then up here, after the prodiamine round starts to wear off after about 6 weeks, we go ahead and hit it with a Simtrel round. So right there, guys, that's going to get you 4 rounds in your program. Okay. Now, a lot of times people will ask me, hey, Will, how many rounds should I create? Or how many applications should I have in my program? And to tell you the truth, it's all up to you. I mean, that's the beauty of this, is you can really tailor it to your needs, your customers' needs, and the amount of complaints that you're getting. So I know for us, we do an 8-round program where we come out every about 5 to 6 weeks. And generally we found that to be pretty secure. We don't really get a whole ton of callbacks for weeds and stuff like that. For our commercial properties, we would do 6 rounds. But what you start to find is the less rounds you do, the less visits, the more weeds you're going to have, because you're not there as often spraying those eyesores. So there are companies out there that do 12 rounds. They come out once a month. So however you want to do it, and whatever you feel more comfortable with, whatever quality of service that you want to give to your customers is up to you. That's the beauty of it. Okay. So let's keep moving forward here. So anytime that we do come out, so we already have our 4 pre-emergents. You got 2 in the spring, 2 in the fall. So next, let's move on to the fertilizer rounds. Okay, so same thing. Generally speaking, we use a slow release fertilizer. So we use a 28-310. It's very high in nitrogen. That's what that first number is right here, that 28. That means that there's a lot more nitrogen, which what nitrogen does is it gives it that top growth, so it grows tall, and it also gives it that dark green color. So anytime we're treating or fertilizing Bermuda lawns, we want to blast, as long as it's healthy, as long as it's a healthy Bermuda lawn, we want to blast that with high nitrogen. Now, if it is a stressed or recovering lawn, we do not want to blast it with nitrogen, because what that will do is it will cause the disease to spread and get much, much worse. Okay, we do not want to do that. So, but generally speaking, I'd say 95-98% of the Bermuda lawns we have are all pretty healthy because we've been taking care of them. So in the summertime, the fertilizers are a slow release fertilizer. So what it does is it releases nitrogen very slowly. It's a granular product, so it does go in the spreader. And when you go out and spread it, it doesn't activate until it gets watered in. So the nice part about a granular and a slow release fertilizer is you don't have to worry about the lawn getting burned. Okay, there's companies out there that will spray liquid nitrogen, and that's all great, and it's easier to do the liquid and nitrogen. But what will happen is you will have a customer that, number one, doesn't water or use their irrigation system, and then number two, you're going to run into a scenario where there's a drought or it doesn't rain for 2, 3, 4 weeks. And if you put a liquid nitrogen down on the lawn and the customer doesn't water and Mother Nature doesn't water, you will fry that lawn. And that is going to be a super expensive repair, because ultimately speaking, you are responsible when you're out there treating for your lawn. So we take good precaution in using a slow release fertilizer. What it does is it releases nitrogen very slowly over about a 6 to 8 week period, and it just helps keep that grass green for the entire 6 to 8 weeks. Instead of, a lot of customers will go out to Home Depot or Lowe's, they'll go out and get those basic residential fertilizers, and what happens is it gets real green for like a week or two, and then the next 4 weeks it just tailors off because it's not a slow release fertilizer, it's a quick release. Okay, so we generally do 3 fertilizer rounds because they're spaced out every about 6 to 8 weeks. So we do one in about April, May, one in June, July, and then one in August/September. And that will get us all the way through the summer. It will keep our customers' lawn nice and green and healthy. By the time our slow release starts to wear off, boom, we're right there again to apply another slow release fertilizer, and it helps keep our customers' lawn green all summer long. Okay, now if you think about the program there, so you've got 2 pre-emergents now in the spring, 2 pre-emergents in the fall, and then 3 in the summertime. So that's already 7 applications for your weed control, okay, program. Now, what we like to do in the winter time, and let me see if they have it here on the list, but I don't see it here, but what we like to do in December timeframe, it's like mid-November to December, is we like to do a winterizer. Okay, what is a winterizer, you may ask? What a winterizer is we know that the temperatures get the absolute coldest in mid-January to February. Those are the most harsh, coldest temperatures that we find down here in Texas, right? So what we do is we put a winterizer down, and what that does is it boosts the root system. It allows the root system to get nice and deep to prepare that grass type to go into the winter time frame. So we'll get a lot of calls sometimes. Customers will be like, well, I want to pause my services until next summer, and it's like, that's not the best idea. Like you want to stay on the program. It is a year-round program, which is really nice because unlike mowing, the fertilizing and weed control applications, they don't stop. So mowing, there's a season, right? Grass is growing and then it goes dormant. But for the fertilizing and weed control, you're there all year round. 12 months out of the year you can spray, as long as there's not like ice and snow on the ground if you're up in the northern states. But it's a great service to be able to upsell to your customers. So sorry, I'm getting a little off track here, but basically, so yeah, we do a winterizer in the mid-November to December timeframe, and that helps for the deeper root system of the grass types. So on every single visit, and if you look at this chart here, so the yellow is pre-emergent, the blue is post-emergent, which is basically just a fancy name for weed control. The red is insect control, orange is disease control, and then the green is fertilizer. So you guys can use this chart to really kind of like tailor to your turf schedule and weed control program and figure out how many rounds that you want to do. I would say if you're doing residential lawn care, 7 rounds is like a bare minimum that I would do, because residential lawn care for fertilizing and weed control is a little bit different than residential, and let me explain why. For residential lawn care, this is their the customer's house, right? They are going to come out, walk out on their back porch. This is their home. This is where they live. They're going to come out and inspect it thoroughly and make sure that you're doing a good job. And if they see even like 5 or 10 weeds in the lawn, they're going to be calling you, and it will become a yellow slip, service call, callback, whatever you want to call it. When you're doing commercial lawn care and you're doing acres of property, nobody is going to walk all the way out there an acre to look if there's still weeds in the lawn. So that's why a lot of times you'll see people that are in this business, the commercial fertilizing and weed control programs, there's a lot less around because number one, it's not their home. They're just working at a business. And number two, nobody's going to take the time to go out there, all the way out there in the backfield to look about, what kind of weeds that are still present. So, yeah, hopefully this helps. I'm trying to think if there's any other key points there. For the weed control, so just so you guys know, let me pull this back a little bit so I can show you guys. So on every single visit on all of our 8 rounds that we stop for, even if it's a winterizer, fertilizer, pre-emergent, it doesn't matter, okay? We always spray for weeds. We do broadleaf weed control and we do grassy weed control, okay? Those are the 2 categories that every weed falls under, and each product treats different weeds. So it's really, really important that you read the label and understand what products treat what weeds, because if you just go out and get a broadleaf weed killer, it doesn't mean that it's going to kill 100% of all the broadleaf weeds. It might only kill 70% of the broadleaf weeds. And on the grassy side, it's even more complex. Like, just because you go out and get a grassy weed killer, it's like, oh, okay, I can just spray this on all the grassy weeds. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. There are products that only tailor to like 50% of the weeds that you're spraying. So the last thing you want to do is go out and spray these grassy weeds using a super expensive grassy product that you just bought and it not actually be killing the weeds. So it's really important to read the label, make sure that the weeds that you're treating are on the label. And if you don't know, there is an app out there. Actually, let me pull it up. I'm going to share this information with you guys because I think this is super helpful. Okay, there is an app called Picture This. Okay, it's on the App Store. And let me see if I can show you guys. Okay, this is basically what it looks like on the home screen. But basically down here, I literally just snap them. I can just pull up the picture, take a picture of the actual weed, and it will, for free, send me exactly what weed it is. Okay, so there's probably other apps out there, but you definitely want to make sure that you have something like that you can identify the weeds, so that way you can know the name of it, look at the label, make sure that what you're treating for is on that label. And then for all of our weed control, we do add a surfactant to every single weed control. So anytime that we are mixing our products, it is basically a sticky product that we put into the weed control. We do not do it for our prodiamine, and we do not do it for any winterizer or aeration, liquid aeration, or anything like that. But that product will help it stick to the plant. So that way, if it rains, 4 or 5 hours later, that sticky product will help the weed control stick to the plant and really allow it to accelerate the process of wilting and dying and things like that. So anyways, I think that's about it. Let me know if you guys want me to add this turf program below, but this is basically it. We do offer a insect control. So as you can see, it starts in like February, March, and can go all the way to September, October. It's generally about every 90 days. We do a 4-round program for our insect control, and that kills all your basic insects. You're basically just using bifenthrin. So this is the product that you'll use, is the bifenthrin. That's the active ingredient that does is the insect killer. But yeah, that's basically it. There's a lot of other products on here that you can use. This is the surfactant that we use, is the 80-20 surfactant. And as you can see, it says use surfactant with all post-emergent applications, and that will help your weed control do better. Sometimes you guys may go out there and spray the weeds, and you're like, hey, this stuff's not working. Why are the weeds not dying? Well, you want to make sure, number one, you're actually treating the right weeds. But number two, put that surfactant in the backpacks when you spot spray, and it will make a world of difference. So hope this helps, guys. If it did, smash the like button. Obviously, subscribe to the channel. We're going to bring you guys great content. That's the best way that you can support myself and our channel, is to actually subscribe to the channel. We take a lot of time to put these videos together. I'm actually shooting this super early in the morning before we actually start our day. So if you found this helpful, smash that thumbs up button, and we will see you guys next time.